My name is Piers Thompson. I'm actually a freeholder. I live on Silchester Road. I've lived in the Royal Borough all my life. I was in World's End. I've been in W10 since the late 80s. I'm just very quickly going to recap where we are today, and then I'm going to hand you over to various guests from around the borough who are going to do a very short presentation, or perhaps I'll ask questions. And then we're going to open it to the room, because I think the thing that I believe, and I hope you all agree, is that whatever the outcome of all this regeneration is, whether you're for or against, the decisions shouldn't just consult us, but that we should be making the decisions that affect our lives, our homes, our families.
Yes.
And they talk about consultation, we want to be participating. There are a few good things in the air, Sadiq Khan and so on. Westminster indeed are beginning to use votes, so these things get decided by the residents. But the important thing is that the council realise that we are united in believing that we should make the decisions, not them. And I know some of you have been messed around by the council for years, some by the TMO. Look how many people are here. And I think whatever your views are, we all agree that we should be driving this process, not the council.
Yes.
So if I could just very quickly recap historically. In July of last year, we all got a letter through our doors with a red line showing which homes were at risk in the regeneration process. They hired some people, CBRE and some architects, and those people came up with 6 plans, 6 options. Sorry, no, just dump that. 6 options. You probably saw them all, options 1 to 6. There's a green and red light system on each option. And you'll see, even if I just show it around, that one's got 1 green, that one's got 1 green, that one's got 1 green, 4 greens. Right, now the next option, option 5, has 6 green lights. And those are the 6 green lights against the 6 criteria that the council set, which are meets commitment to estate residents, financially viable, meets planning requirements, delivers more and better affordable housing, and over the next few weeks we'll discuss what that means, affordable housing, delivers conservation areas of the future, creates high quality public and green spaces. Well, as you know, we already have high quality green spaces. Anyway, so the council, either at the end of this month or next month, are going to vote in cabinet on which of these 6 options they should pursue. That doesn't mean they're going to do it, that means they're going to do further viabilities. Now, one thing I will tell you is that the council so far have refused to let anyone know what the financial viability assessment looks like. So they have the piece of paper that says that this number 5 is financially viable, but they are not prepared to let us see that. Now, our friends in Grenfell have put in a request through the Freedom of Information Act to get that information, but the council are refusing at the moment to let us have it. That's a bit of a, it shows their thinking.
Piers, why don't you open the other door or something? Cause
excuse me, a lot of people outside.
Okay.
So my leg is too big. Sorry, I cannot.
no, that's okay. That's all right.
Welcome everybody.
Sorry, got to go there.
Just sit. I'll stand here. Just sit. No, it's fine.
You're going to need a bigger boat. It's great to see so many people because this is a big issue, I think, for all of us. So, I mean, I was just recapping the history up till now. These 6 options are all on the Silchester Estate.
Yeah, I've got details. Silchesterestate.org.uk. There's a regeneration section, so information about that and the meetings that.
So all these bits of paper are available on that, including the option 5, which, just to repeat, option 5, which has 6 green lights, involves knocking down everything within the red line. That is everything between the Hammersmith and City line, the Westway and the Overground. It also involves taking an acre and a half from the Westway Trust of the 23 acres. So, you know, it's a massive, massive demolition.
Lots of money.
Sorry?
Lots of money.
Well,
Do you know who the investment is coming from?
well, at the moment, we don't really know anything because at the moment, these 6 options, the council is going to vote on looking at one of them in more detail. We would be very surprised if that one was not number 5, because number 5 has got 6 green lights.
And what about number 6? There were 6 ones.
Well, number 6 gets 4 green lights. There's this, it does have a yellow on meets planning requirements. Again, that's something we don't know about, something only they know about. It's everything from the railway, which is over there, the Overground,
Oh,
Yeah.
I see what you
up to the
mean.
Westway,
Yeah,
And
and
yeah.
then down from the Hammersmith and City.
planning to knock down all of that.
Sorry?
When they are planning to knock
Well,
down.
at the moment, we just to recap, the decision has not been made, according to the council, to do this. However, yet, you know, we'll take that on faith. And the very fact that we have how many people we have here today shows that the people here care about their homes, and the people here want to make sure that they are part of this decision-making process. Sharon.
As I said, Ruth Angel has said that Silchester Estate, a member of the committee, and Bradley House Estate can have a member of their committee go to this cabinet meeting, but they're still not given the time. They just said it's the 26th of May, which was supposed to have been the end of April instead.
Right.
They've already prolonged it, but they're not actually inviting anybody, they're just telling everyone, but they're not doing anything to let you know anymore. So it's all cloak and dagger stuff anyway.
So you've been invited to observe rather than participate.
We've
You're
been
not allowed
invited
to
to
speak.
go, and so is someone from Silchester if they want to go as well.
But not to speak.
Not said anything about speak, they just said that they can go, but as yet they still haven't given a time. And when I saw Ruth Angel, the day I saw you, still no time given for they're having their meeting. So obviously it's going to be closed behind closed doors.
Starts at 6:30.
It's in the evening, I thought it was in the daytime the way they were going
No, the
on.
cabinet meeting's at 6:30.
By the way, everyone,
That might be interesting.
this is Judith Blakeman, who is one of our 3 ward councillors, who has so far been very helpful in, apart from else, helping us to understand how the council works. So that's really all I wanted to say. I mean, I believe that this show of unity is fantastic, and the message we should send out is that we would like to be part of this. We want to be driving this decision-making process rather than going along with whatever they have decided in their wisdom is good for us. We have some people who've got experience of these things. I'm going to shut up. Eileen, I wonder if you could very briefly talk to us. Tell us. Eileen from Defend Council Housing, which I know that many of you are here. Eileen.
Yeah, my name's Eileen Shaw and I'm chair of an organisation called Defend Council Housing, and it was set up in 1997 when we first started having the what they call the stock transfer, the proposals for privatisation. But since then, we've campaigned on the bedroom tax. Currently, we're campaigning about the issues in the housing bill, and I've got information here if people want it. But I think I don't need to tell you that housing in London is becoming a more and more fraught and difficult question. Even if you have got a secure tenancy or have bought your home, the chances are that your children are still on the sofa and are never going to move out, or that your family is increasingly overcrowded, or and in particular at moments like this, which isn't only happening here. There are, as far as we know, at least 80 estates in London where large-scale redevelopment and demolition is being planned. And I think we all know what that is about. That they want the land, they want to intensify development, they can sell places for £500,000 each, and therefore people are looking at this with pound signs in their eyes. I mean, sorry, that's a crude summary, but that's what's driving it. So the question is, I guess for everybody, what does it mean for you? And I think there's like a checklist, and in my mind, if you're a secure council tenant, then you have the kind of the most secure tenancy that exists in English law. There's lots of attempts to take it, to chip away at it, but currently you have the best security. And when this plan document talks about re-providing, I think you need to know whether that means re-providing a council home with a council tenancy at the current rate in the place you want to live. Because there's a big difference between being a council tenant with an affordable rent and a right to hold the landlord to account and to be properly involved in a decision, and having a different kind of tenancy and an up to 80% market rent, which in London that means a rent you can't afford, basically. If you're a leaseholder, there are real serious issues here, because the experience so far, and in particular on the Haygate estate, there's a real study being done on the Haygate estate, which is near the Elephant and Castle. The whole 1,100 homes were on the estate. The whole estate was demolished. And the plan is to build about twice the number of homes. But the leaseholders on the estate are not compensated at the level of market prices. So what the leaseholders get in compensation is not enough to buy a replacement home. And the study on the Haygate, which shows that the tenants have been scattered across neighbouring boroughs, but some leaseholders are not even able to afford to stay in London, because if you get some proportion of what you paid for the place, that today doesn't buy anything in London. So for leaseholders there's a serious concern. And then for everybody else who's a private renter or on a short-term tenancy, most of these redevelopment plans offer nothing. It's like we wash your hands of you time, unless you in some way are would be at risk, would be homeless and are at risk. Effectively, everybody else is scattered to the four winds. And then so these are the categories, and you can all find out more about all this. But the other big question is about the community, because what this all does is breaks people down and plays one group off against another. But what it doesn't do is allow you as a whole group of people to say whether you want to stay in this community, live side by side, have the mix that you've got now, and the I don't want to go on about it at great length, but basically only on a council estate where you've got the right to have council housing, council leaseholders, freeholders, and the mix that you've got now, you can't reproduce that on a private development because the same mix and the same affordability doesn't exist. So I think I've made a note of what to me are some of the key questions that if I was in your position I would be asking, but I don't come from here, I don't want to tell you what you know already, but I do think that there are some key things that you can argue for. It's about finding ways and deciding whether you think there's a way that you can unify everybody's interests, come together and negotiate about things in a way that represents the best interests of most of you, or all of you, and then how you're going to take that argument to the council, because they want to treat this as though this is their estate which you happen to be living on. In truth, this land was bought and paid for at public expense, paid for out of rents paid and service charges, belongs to the people. The councillors are supposed to only be the custodians of this, and is financed out of your pockets. And I think, there's been 20 years of talking about council estates in a very derogatory way and talking about tenants as though we're all scroungers and layabouts. And the danger is that it makes people feel a bit defensive and apologetic. But I think at a time like this, they are trying to negotiate with you, and the best way to defend your interests is A, to get organised, not to wait, but to work out what your best interests are, and then to go on the front foot and say, we want you, the council, to come and discuss with us our plan, our interests, what we want for the estate, because often people only get organised at a much later point in the process when it's almost too late. On the other hand, just the final thing I want to say a million things, but I won't go on forever. There's an estate called Churchill Gardens in Westminster on the river by Pimlico. The council had made a proposal about one bit of the estate, but the tenants trusted their instinct that this was the beginning, this was the thin end of the wedge, and got very organised and put on a lot of pressure and demanded to talk to councillors and held meetings, got their MP, did all of it, all the things you all know how we can do. And by battling away, actually eventually have got the right to a vote. Westminster Council has conceded that tenants on estates where there's large-scale redevelopment proposed should have a vote on whether they agree with it or not. Now, it seems to me that would be a card. If it was my estate, I would be saying to them, if it's good enough for Westminster, then Kensington and Chelsea need to concede us the right to a vote on any proposal before it goes ahead. And you want a guarantee from them that that vote would be binding. And if you agree that that was a way to go, then maybe you'd want to do a petition and go and knock on all the neighbours and explain it and get 90% of the estate signing the petition saying this is the way we want to go. I mean, this is just me making it up, as you can tell. But what I'm trying to say is you need a strategy that reflects your best interests, which you've worked out and then you take to them. And obviously, as Defend Council Housing, we'll come back and help and hopefully produce whatever the leaflets are, or do, link up with other estates, meet the people from Churchill Gardens, whatever you need to do to make sure that you're not shafted in this process. I think it's more polite than
Thank you, Eileen.
This land is your land.